Hello there and welcome. My name is Jimmy Wikman and it's time again for another video about the Atlassian cloud changes that was pushed out to us between March 18th and March 25th. So let's not waste any time. Let's just jump right into the article and see what kind of new features we got last week. So here we are now in the blog, the Atlassian Cloud Support blog, where they post then their release notes and the cloud changes that we have for our cloud instances. So let's just jump into it and see what they have here for us. So the first thing is managed authentication policy user guest users. That's, I don't know if that is actually a sentence, but what they are talking about is and that we can now track the Atlassian access cost for Confluence guests with CSV exports. And we have talked about this one before. I don't know if these ones are any different from what we've had in previous weeks. But what you can export then is our managed accounts and authentication policy. So in the admin section here, then admin.atlassian.com, you can now select your organization if you have more than one, and then you can go to directory and manage accounts, and from there then you can export accounts as CSV. And from what I understand, this is only possible if you have claimed a domain, otherwise you cannot do this. At least I could not find it in the test instance here. And the same thing then is if you want to have a connection then with authentication policies. So then you also go to your admin.atlassian.com and then you go to security, authentication policies, you select the policy and then you go to members and then you can export members to a CSV file. So this is good for those of you who wants to have it in other systems or if you want to bring it out to Excel or something like that for whatever reason. So now we can export these managed accounts and authentication policies. Moving on, organization admin can now manage any team, and this is a good thing because before this rolled out, if you had a team, then as an org admin or any form of admin, you could not actually change anything about the team. You cannot edit it, you cannot delete it, and this could be a problem if everyone in the team was gone, for example, and then you could not do anything about it because in order to change it, you needed to be invited or added to that project. So what they have done now is that you can now go into any team profile and you can make changes without needing to join. So this one means that you will notice a few extra buttons in the left sidebar when you add or remove members. And this will then allow you then to edit the team settings and even delete the teams. So this is really, really good if you are an org admin and you want to have a little bit more control over the teams themselves. So this one is really, really good. Let's see. Jira Platform is next. So this is then for all the Jira types. So the first one we have then is receive notifications when you make changes to issues in Jira. Now, I don't have this one yet, but you probably noticed that I have asked for, I've told you that I don't have notifications yet. But now I finally do. So I was thinking, let's jump in there. And even if I cannot show you this particular one, I can show you what notifications look like. So let's jump into the test environment or my test instance, and I can show you what this one looks like. So here we are now in the test instance, and I have a little bit of extra going on here that we will not go into in this video, but we'll talk about next week. And that is because they are now rolling out alerting, on-call, and incident management features from Opsgenie. So that's why you're seeing these little weird things on the side here, and you will also see it when we go into notifications. But to find your notifications, then you go to your profile here, and you will have notifications. And if you have the new that they have now rolled out, then you will have the notification settings here. That is now called projects and issues. So the top one here is the default notification settings, and this one is usually toggled like this. So it means that you can see these are the different types of notifications that we can modify. and the email tends to be locked down. So if you toggle this one on, then you can customize these as well. And you have this one in 2 levels then. So you have this one that is the default notification setting. This one will be for everything that you haven't defined on a project level. So below this one, you can now set notifications per project also. So you can have different notifications for different projects. And to select a new project here, you can just click on Add Project Notifications, and then you can search for your project, and you can just confirm, and then you will have this one added here as well. And then you can customize it the way you want. You can decide what you want to have for this one. And the in-product ones, these are the ones that you get here up here in the bell. So this is where you will have notifications show up here. And email, of course, they will be sent to you. And as you can see here, we do not have the one that says that I can now get notified about things that happens in my issue. That was what they have rolled out now. So this one is actually missing here right now. And I also haven't found a way to actually remove it from a project. So I'm guessing maybe if I remove like this, will it go away? No, you have removed there. Sorry, I missed that one. This is why you should not have a secondary button that is gray on a gray background. This one should probably be a primary one because it's a primary functionality. Anyway, now we know where that one is. And you also see that we have alerts here. So that is the one we will talk about next week. That one is related to this one. We have up here the on-call schedule and the connection then to the Obsidian. So this is where we'll have all the alert settings that you have from Obsidian that they have now moved over to Jira Service Management. So this one is also really good. But let's get back and see what other features we have now in the release now. So here we are back again then. So this one was receive notifications when you make changes to issues. And this is the setting that I do not have yet. And this one will also be available then in the notification section. Next up is access designs from release page in Jira. And this one is really, really nice because we have talked about this one before and I haven't really showed you what this one looks like. But this one is then related to the connection that we have now with Jira and with Figma. So the way it works is that you need to have a specific app that is called Figma for Jira and that you need to install in your instance, and it's free. And through that one, we can now connect to a Figma file. So you can have that in your Jira issue. But this one now means we can now make this even better. So not only will you have it in the issue, but in the releases themselves, it will pick up all the design files that you have connected then from Figma, and it will add those as a special section in your release. So this one is really, really cool actually. So I want to jump over and show you both of these functionalities. So first I will show you what it looks like in the Jira issue itself, and then I will show you what it looks like on the release page. So let's jump over to Jira so I can show you this. So here we are now in our test instance once again, and as you can probably tell, since I'm hovering over this one already with the mouse, and is that you will have this little icon here, a little design icon here that will indicate that we have a Figma file connected to this one. And you might remember that a few weeks ago, if it was last week or the week before, we talked about the fact that if you add a Figma file, then it will show this little Jira icon. And we talked about if you have multiple connections here, so if you have a linked page and you also have the Figma file, you will actually have two Jira icons here, and that is because this icon hasn't been updated yet. But you will get a clear indication that you have this design icon here, and this one will actually be possible to click and show you the design here. But let's go into this one and show you in full view here what it looks like. So first you will see this one. Once you've added that add-on here, you can see that we have an add design button here at the top here with a little design icon. And then when you add it, then we will actually have a design here that is connected. In this case, I have already connected it. And from this connection here, not only will I be able to see the design, so I can zoom in and zoom out of the design itself. It will also show when it was added, what file it is connected through, and you can expand it also in Jira. So if I click here, then we can see a full view. And you can do the same thing here. Now I can go to Figma directly then and inspect it. And also if you have built an interactive prototype in Jira, or sorry, in Figma, then you can click on this one and it will take you then to the prototype view. And you can even, if this one is a clickable prototype, you can actually click on this one and it will toggle it then in this view also into prototype mode. Now I don't have this one, this is just a flat 2D print or a design, so it will do nothing if I do this. So this is what it looks like when you are in Jira. You also have this link here where you can unlink the design, so don't accidentally click that one because then you will unlink it. But to make this even better then, you can now have this also in the release. So if I go to the releases here, you can see that this one is connected to a fixed version, which is one of the releases. If I go to the releases now and I click on this one, you will see that we have a new section here for designs. This one will fetch all the design files that you have connected to any of the issues that is connected to this one. And then it will add it here in this view also. And from here, you can also open the preview, which will be the same preview that you have in the ticket itself. So this is a really, really cool and really great addition to it. Just be careful when you work with live designs in tickets. So you make sure that you only do this when you're working with ideation. So not if you have this one. This one cannot be a requirement in Jira, because every time you actually update it in Figma, that will actually update here live. And there will be no version control or anything like that unless you work with branches in Figma, and not everyone is doing that. So just be aware that this one should not be a visual requirement. That one should be locked in Confluence if you want to have that one. But we'll talk more about requirements and things like that in another video. For now, we're just going to focus on the goodies. This is really awesome. It's a great way for designers to connect their work directly to tickets. And now we can also have it in the release notes or the releases themselves. So let's jump back into the release notes and see what else we have. So here we are now back again in the release notes, and we talked about access designs from the release page in Jira, and that one is awesome. So let's move on to the next one. So we are back, or we are now into Jira Software. So not the Jira platform itself, but this is now for Jira Software specifically. And the first one is view high-level work across multiple teams with a new template. So this one is actually related to plans, actually. So when you create now a new project, you have a new template that we call cross-team planning template. And this one is actually creating something in plans. So I thought, let's go back again and show you what that means and what happens when you create this one. So let's jump back into the test instance again so I can show you. So here we are now back in the test instance, and what they are referring to then is if you go to projects and create project, and you select then Jira Software, you will see that we have the cross-team planning, and we also had before top-level planning. So both of these are only available for premium, first and foremost. And if you create one of these, you see this one is for plans. So when you create this one, it will actually automatically fetch then from two different projects, so you can have a plan for that one. So if I use this template, it will create a plan, and I actually already did this, just so we can see what it looks like. So if I go to plans here, you can see it automatically created something for me called cross-team planning. And the way it works is then that we will have from two different teams, and we will have it from one project. So if we go for issue sources here, you can see that we have it from two boards, cross-team planning A and cross-team planning B. And as you can see, then it is connected then to two boards, cross-team planning B and cross-team planning A. And this is then what feeds into our plan here. So it will show then So we can now see the items here between the different themes that they have. And they have only created now features or epics here for this one. So if we want, we can create different new things below this one. But if you create a default one, this is what you will actually end up with. And so I'm going to make a video for plans so you can see how we actually set this one up and how you work with it. But just know that this new template that they have created, this one and the other one that it was called top level planning, cross team planning, both of them are creating plans that was formerly then known as advanced roadmaps. So you are aware that this is what they are creating. Good. Let's move back and check what else they have in the release notes. So here we are now back in the release notes, and we looked at view high-level work across multiple teams with the new template. That was the last thing we checked out. So now we're going to take a look at the next one. And the next one is create child issues for hierarchy level above Epic. And this one feels a little bit weird because they have announced that issue hierarchy is now free for all plans. All paid plans can now do this. And this one says the premium customer can now create child issues. So this one is not really true. I think it's just for this functionality. So what the functionality is then, if you create a hierarchy right now and you do not have a premium or enterprise, then you can add the different childs below it manually, just like you normally do with a linked issue between parent and child. And what they have done then is if you create something above Epic, then you can actually have this functionality to create child issue. The same functionality that you can see within an Epic. So within an Epic, you will have a section and it will say create child issues, and then you can create stories. So now they have this one Epic +1, and that sounds a little bit weird to me, why they only had it for +1. But perhaps there is something in the architecture that prevents them to do it for all levels, because it should be probably the standard functionality for all parents that you can have that button to create childs. So let me see if I can show you what this one actually looked like. They have it in the within the product release notes themselves. Let me just jump over there so we can see the image of it, because I do not have it here because I don't have premium. I cannot actually show you this one. But let me jump over to the product release notes so you can see what it looks like, because in there they actually have an image for it. So here we now are in the release notes for the product updates. So if you don't know where to find that, if you go to your admin section and you go to products, and you will have release management and product updates, and there you can find all of them. So this one is then create child issues for hierarchy level above Epic +1. So in the image here, you can see that you have this button here, add child issue. So this is the one that you will have from Epics also. So this one is going to be nice. I'm just a little bit bummed that they chose to have this one locked behind a paywall. So if you have a standard plan that is also a paid plan, then you won't have this one. I don't think that makes much sense, because this is not something that I would pay money for. It's not adding values that will go like, yeah, I will pay extra now to go for premium. So this one should be a standard functionality, I think, for all users, even free users. It's not that big of a change for it. But now you know what that one looks like. So just jump back over to the release notes again and see what else we have. So here we are then, back in the release notes. And let me just double check so it doesn't say anything, because with this change, premium customers can now create child issues for issues in these additional hierarchy levels. So since there's plural here, I assume that it will be for all of them above, but I guess we have to double check that one and to see if this one is actually true. But this is nice, but like I said, this should not be a paid to win situation here. This one is small enough. It should be for everyone. It should not be something that you need to pay extra for. just to get this functionality. But that's just me. Moving over, Jira Work Management, celebrate accomplishments. This one I think we had before. At least I know that I have tried this one before, but maybe it was just a temporary thing. So now if you drag something into the finished column, to the done column, it will actually do a little animation where it spits out some confetti and celebrates that you have completed something. I think this is something that could be in the project settings, actually, for all projects, regardless of what type. It's kind of fun to do that one and celebrate that we have closed something. So I can imagine, for example, your service management project, when you close something and you get that little confetti bomb, will put a smile on your face. Even if you've seen it 1,000 times, it still feels nice to have that little animation. So please, Atlassian, let's add that one into the project configuration so we can actually have that everywhere in Jira. Next up is adding whimsy to onboarding tutorial. I have absolutely no idea what that one means. Enjoy whimsical animations while learning Jira best practices. I'm assuming this one is for that little introduction that you get on the right side when you are new. Now they apparently have some whimsical animations. I don't know if that is the best choice. I don't know how bad they are, but I would rather have professional animations, rather than whimsical ones. But why not? We should have fun when we're working. So if it puts a smile on someone's faces and they still feel that this is a serious tool to work in, I'm all for it. I just don't know where I can find them. So if someone have some screenshots of them or can point me where I can find them, please do. And I will be happy to review them again. Next up, quickly perform actions for your cards from within the cards. So now from within the board, sorry. So this one is then you'll have those 3 dots and you can now do a little bit more with them in the board view for your work management. And again, I think why not jump in and see what this one actually looks like. So apparently we can have copy the link, we can delete the issue, and we can move the card to top or bottom of the column it's currently in. And we're talking about the board there. So let's go in there and see. I think I have at least some of those functionalities. So let's see if we can find them. So here we are now in the test instance again, and this time I moved over to one of the work management projects. And so as you can see, it looks a little bit different here because we now have a gradient here. We're going to talk about that in a while. But in here, I created now a card. And as you can see, I have those 3 dots here now on the card itself. And if I click on those, I will now be able to copy a link. I can link a Confluence page and I can delete. These are the 3 things that I can do. And I guess if I create another one, card 2, now I will even be able then to move them different places. So if I add another one, let's see how many of these we can do. Now we just have move to top, and this one I can probably move to bottom then. Yeah, so these are the things. Move to top, move to bottom, delete, link Confluence page, and copy link. So these are good things to have when you're working with your work management. So this one I really, really like, especially if you have a long list here or if you quickly just want to get rid of something here. So overall, good changes. So let's jump back and see what else fun we can find. So now we are back again in the release notes, and I realized that maybe we should have mentioned this one. So you will only see the delete functionality, obviously, if you have the delete capability. So if you have this permission, then you can see it. Otherwise, you will not see it. Just so people won't start yelling at me and telling me that I said it wrong or I was mistaken. Obviously, you cannot delete anything if you don't have permission. So just want to mention that one to be safe there. Let's see what else we have. Confluence, and I feel that we talked about this one last week. So automatically build automation rules to assign guests to users to a space. Now we did not talk about this one specifically. But this one now allows us to create automation rules, and we can manage then space assignment for guest users. So you will we'll show you, so not the tool, but we will show you. That's interesting. We will show you then a prompt to automatically build a rule to assign spaces to new guest users when you assign spaces in 3 ways. If you're using the drop-down menu next to the guest user's name, then you will find that you can assign a default space. If you use the bulk assign screen, or if you're setting up a default space for guest users in global permissions. So then you will have then the automation. And I think in a future video, we should probably check this one out and see how the automations are working. And I think we should probably have a little series for also for automations in Confluence, because that is kind of new. And I haven't even played around with it much. And there's a lot of fun stuff that Avinoam and his team has put into this one. And so we should probably have a little bit more information about it. But for now, know that you can then you can create rules to manage space assignment, and you have it will automatically prompt you on these 3 actions. So when these things happen, you will get a little notification and ask you if you want to automatically set this one up. Next up will then be automatically build automation rules for public links. So now you can create automation rules to manage the public links. So this one will also show you then a pop-up and remind you that this exists. So use the public link settings when you're doing that one, then you will get a prompt that we can build a rule for public link in new spaces. So they really want us now then to start using the automations for Confluence. So now they're even pushing it in our face when we are setting different things up. So this one is interesting. I don't work with public links much, so maybe one of you will find this one more interesting than I do. Team calendars are getting a settings refresh, and I haven't seen this one yet. But it is a refresh of the configuration settings. So they have a new streamlined and modern look, at least according to the designers, I guess. So what happens then, if you are a Confluence administrator, you can select the wheel icon to open Confluence Administration, Settings, and then in Data Management, you will see Team Calendars. So then you can see the new advanced, modern, sleek-looking design that we have for this one. I don't know, is anyone working with Team Calendars much? If you do, please tell me in the comments and tell me how you're using it, because I haven't really found a good use for it, and it kind of clashes with other tools that we're using where we have calendars. So, do you have a good use case for it? Let us know. And then we have Atlassian Analytics, the last one on the list today. So now we can restrict who can add third-party data sources to a workspace. So I haven't received I haven't been able to work with Atlassian Analytics yet. I'm still waiting for access for it. But apparently you can restrict who can add third-party data sources to a workspace. So under admin settings and settings, from the global navigation, you can now find something called who can add third-party data sources. And then you can select between anyone, organization, and analytics only. So it's binary restrictions. So anyone or organization and analytics admins only. And then you can click save. And I think I can imagine anyone that don't want to have organization analytics only. But if you have a use case for it when anyone in the workspace should be able to add data sources to your analytics, let me know. I know that it's popular for people to add all kinds of things, but from a tool perspective, I would want to have control over who actually adds. But let me know what you think, if there is a use case for this one. So there we have it. That was the end of the list for this week. This were the Atlassian Cloud changes then from March 18th to March 25th, 2024. And like you've already seen, there are some very interesting things coming already that is out now that we will talk about next week when the release note comes out for that one. But make sure that you check it out if you haven't already, especially the one that they are now doing with Opsy. That one looks really, really nice. But I think the only thing that remains for me to say now is that I hope that you will have an awesome day and a great